My brothers and sisters, what is going on? Still sermon in the house. Thursday evening, another video and another preview as the bye week is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers are back in action as we head back home to Pittsburgh to face the New Orleans Saints. A couple of 6-loss teams going at it in Pittsburgh Sunday afternoon. And let's get on to it. So the New Orleans Saints, as I said, 3-6 coming off a really bad loss at home to the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, where their defense was once again very disappointing and their offense just did not have a good showing at all. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers come in 2-6 as we're coming off our bye week, and the game before the bye, we all know the story there. A 35-13 loss to the Eagles in Philadelphia. So, in my opinion, these two are kind of like the opposite of each other. Everyone figured that the Saints would be this real good defensive team this year. But as I said, the Saints on defense this year have been really disappointing. The secondary, though, has been elite with covering wide receivers. But when they're going up against non-elite quarterbacks, that's really the only time that they've been able to shine with that secondary of theirs. But going up against, big-name quarterbacks, they haven't done all so well this year. Taking a look at the Saints as a whole, their defense with their evolution as far as their players go, they like to go with a 4-down front. They bring a lot of pressure to the house, but when it just isn't in sync with each other, that's why that they're struggling. And the pass defense is just taking a big hit this year as well. Taking a look at their defense, you got Cam Jordan, obviously. He's been the catalyst of that defense for some time now. Davenport, really good guy. He's real good with the edge placement there. He causes pressure. He's just an overall great all-situational guy as far as that defensive line goes for the Saints. Their linebackers are real good. Davis, again, all situations, knows how to get after the QB. And then, of course, in the secondary, you got the Honey Badger leading with picks, and then Marshawn Lattimore has developed substantially as well. That's really just the meat of this New Orleans defense. Real big good names on there. So it's kind of alarming to me as to why they're struggling on defense this year. Might be having to do with their head coach, with Dennis Allen, who ironically is 2-0 in his career against the Pittsburgh Steelers as a head coach. But I just really don't think it's sufficient enough for the Saints to be elite as far as their defense goes. Taking a look at their offense has been putting points on the board. It's been pretty respectable up until this past Monday night, as I said. Just not a good showing. A 27-13 loss at home to the Ravens. But if you watched that game, you knew it wasn't that close. Saints got a garbage time touchdown just to make it look closer than what it really was. But I think with New Orleans' offense, Taysom Hill, they got to get that guy involved a lot. And as I said in my Pick'em video, Taysom Hill reminds me of an ex-Steeler who was the Steelers quarterback when I first became a fan back in 2002 in Cordell Stewart. We called him Slash. That's kind of like what Taysom Hill is. He can run, he can catch passes, and he's got a pretty good arm too. So, they call him the Swiss Army knife down there in New Orleans for good reason. So I think that Taysom Hill really needs to make an impact in this game. Going as far as their quarterback goes, it's a guy that Steeler fans should be very familiar with. And, a guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers in general should be familiar with in Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton spent 9 years in Cincinnati. Does not have a good track record of playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can tell you that right now. He's only beaten the Steelers like 3 times in his entire career. So I think that's something that we got to take advantage of. And I think that's the defense's calling card right there. I mean, the Steelers have a knack for getting up in Andy Dalton's face, forcing him to make bad decisions. We all know that Andy Dalton, he just kind of freezes in the pocket and he looks down at receivers again. But, yeah, I mean, that's just one thing that we got to take advantage of, because now in this game, we got the prodigal son returning. We got 90 coming back, TJ Watt. And it really is incredible how much one player can affect your entire defense, because the times when TJ wasn't there for this whole season pretty much, weren't generating any pressure, weren't getting to the quarterback, we were barely sacking the quarterback, we weren't defending the pass all that well. So I feel like TJ Watt coming back is absolutely going to help out this defense here, man. I think that with the way Andy Dalton plays quarterback, I think that TJ Watt really needs to set the bar high up on his return. You know, as far as our health goes, a couple bumps and bruises, Tomlin said. Miles Jack, a little bit of a knee problem. He's been minimized this week. Akel Witherspoon dealing with a hamstring injury. He was minimized as well. Then you got guys like Levi Wallace, Larry Ogunjobi, and Chris Boswell. They walked it off during practice as well. They are hopeful to play this week. I know that we signed Matthew Wright as far as the kicking core goes. So yeah, I mean, just a couple of bumps and bruises as far as the offense, as far as the team goes. Getting back to the Saints and I understand that not having the best player on your team available, because the best ability that there is in the NFL is availability, which leads me to talking about Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is one of the premier receivers in the league, and he's been one for quite some time. When the Saints have Michael Thomas on the field, they're as dangerous as any other offensive team in the league. But Michael Thomas will not be playing. In fact, he's been put on IR by the Saints because he is expected to miss the rest of the season. When Michael Thomas is healthy, like I said, as good as any receiver in the league. So I think that's going to alleviate a lot of pressure from the secondary there, but by no means do I want to see this defense playing soft zone defense and prevent defense? Because you also got to worry about guys like Jarvis Landry, former Cleveland Brown, who ripped us a new one in the wild card a couple years ago. And then Olave, who the Saints are real high on, rookie receiver. He has had a really good rookie season so far. And that guy is just a pure playmaker. So I think that he's going to be going up against Cam Sutton in this game. And really, when the bread and butter of the Saints offense has been their run game. When the Saints run for 130 or more yards on the ground, they're 3-1 this year. They're 0-5 when they don't hit that mark. So you bring in guys like Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, real good running back. He spreads it around real well. And he's just a pure playmaker. He is a real hard guy to tackle. And he is just that yak guy, you know. He can dodge tackles. He can get yards after the carry. So the defense there really has to be on their toes right there as far as the run game goes. So all in all, this Saints team has the talent to be putting up some offensive numbers here, and they have the talent to be a premier offensive team, but it's just that they lack consistency. Not to say that we do have consistency, because we surely don't. But I think that just a mixture of us going up against an old AFC North guy, a guy who really is not the best head coach in the league, getting our best player back, and the Saints down possibly their best player, I think there's a lot of positives pointing towards the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. This is probably the most optimistic that I've felt about the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into a game since like, I would say all season. You know, this is probably the most optimistic I've been about the Steelers coming into a game. Now, obviously, yes, you got to worry about stuff like, is Kenny Pickett going to make more rookie mistakes? Is Najee Harris just going to dance around and, try to not get and try to just wait to get tackled by defenders so he can juke him out again? Is the run blocking going to be there? Is, who's going to be the standout guy as far as the receivers go? Those are all very common questions. But, this team has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. We're coming off a bye. We're coming off rested. I think that this is the perfect opportunity for us to be able to have a good first step with turning our season around. Because we're 2-6, last place in the division. The Browns have a real tough game this weekend down in Miami to play the Dolphins. Ravens and Bengals are both on their bye. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to make up some ground in that AFC North. Which leads me into my key to victory. I only got one key to victory for this one. Only one that I could really think of. And my key to victory here, going back to what I was saying about the run game for the New Orleans Saints. They're a run-happy team. They're a run-first team. They like to beat you on the ground. They like to ground and pound you. So my key to victory, make Andy Dalton beat you. Do not let Alvin Kamara have a good game against you. Do not let Taysom Hill get heavily involved in this game. Because if they go for $1+, their chance of winning the game is going to be very high. I mean, the Steelers, we have a respectable rush defense, averaging, allowing 4.2 yards per carry this year. The pass defense has been okay this year. There are times where it's looked really spotty. But, causing turnovers, which is where I think that William Jackson III is probably going to come in handy here because he, to be fair with him, he was being used as a zone coverage guy over in Washington, and he's a pure man-to-man guy. So I think that, it comes down to having to make Andy Dalton beat you. This is his start to lose. This is his game to lose, so make him lose it. Beat him. When the Saints are behind and they need a comeback, don't let him put the ball in the hands of Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara because bad things will happen. Have Andy Dalton win him the game. He's got a great weapon at his disposal in Olave. He doesn't have his best target in Michael Thomas, and he has another really good one in Jarvis Landry. But those two alone cannot, equate to Michael Thomas's, production. So that's what I mean. Make Andy Dalton beat you. I mean, Andy Dalton has done it to us a couple of times in the past, like in 2012 and 2015, both games in Pittsburgh. But like I said, it's his game to lose. So make him lose it. We have more than enough talent on this defense to now start causing more pressure. We have more than enough talent now to get some sacks in. And really, guys, show some pride in yourself and show some honor in yourself because we're going to be honoring Steeler alumni this coming Sunday. One of them is a fan favorite in number 83, Heath. So, yeah, man, you're coming off a bye. Get this job done. It's a real good opportunity for you to gain some ground in the AFC North. So Mike Tomlin, Matt Canada, Terrell Austin, Brian Flores, you need to go out there Sunday, play like you have a chip on your shoulder. No laziness, no carefree stuff, no bland and no vanilla play calling, even though I know that's exactly what's probably going to happen. But you guys are 2.5 underdogs coming in this game. Yeah, I mean, we were like 8-point underdogs against Philly. We were 14-point underdogs against Buffalo. Is this a little bit of a breath of fresh air here? Because while 2.5-point underdogs isn't completely awful, you're still underdogs in this game. And Mike Tomlin supposedly plays his best football when this team is an underdog. We ain't seen that this year. The only time that we really did was in our 2 wins. I don't think the Steelers have been favored in a single game all season except for week 4. All right? Play like you got a chip on your shoulder and play like an underdog and turn your freaking season around. You're halfway through the year. You got 9 more games to go. Make this one count and make this be the game that you build your foundation off of with getting out of the basement. Plain and simple. This is a very beatable team. This is a very winnable game. And it's especially winnable now because we got the captain of the team back. We got the defensive player of the year back. And we got a young quarterback who wants to lead this team to a victory. We got wide receivers who are more than capable of making a play. Open up the playbook. Take off the handcuffs. And play Pittsburgh Steelers football. Like it says in the title of this video, you gotta win some fist fights. And the Saints are going to give you a fist fight. This is a 10-round boxing match with a tough defense to go up against. Make your defense count as well and deliver the knockout blow to the New Orleans Saints and assert yourselves back in the conversation. Get it done. That's my preview, guys. Saints and the Steelers. We've lost the last 3 to these guys, but Drew Brees ain't there no more. Sean Payton ain't there no more. It's now Taysom Hill and Andy Dalton and Dennis Allen. Get it done. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. Links are posted in the box below. Steel Sermon checking on out for the night. Let's go Steelers, baby. May God be with you all.